evening, everyone. Welcome back once again to Vicious Rants. And of course, I'm your host, your YouTube Messiah, and often imitated, never duplicated superstar Tim Vicious. And we are talking about Raw was the 25th anniversary episode. Not gonna lie, it was hard to believe 25 years on this thing, man. I mean, well, obviously not here, because honest to God, if I was doing this for 25 years, I'm not sure if I would be the one that's crazy or if the people that actually stood by me for 25 years of recording this would be crazy. You don't count, Wade. You're already crazy to begin with. Execs. Anyways, now, before we get into Raw, do want to address some of the big things that came out. First and foremost, some girl wound up on the Twitter, wound up going and making a big thing saying Enzo wound up raping her and Arizona police are investigating it. And WWE immediately suspended him, saying, you know, making the stance they have a zero tolerance policy against accusations like that. Now, playing devil's advocate here, obviously, you know, it's very much so obvious I am not a fan of Enzo one bit. Like I said before, much like my good brother Danny Sunday, you know, at I am Danny Sunday on the Twitter, does everything possible to show that there is goodness in New Jersey. Enzo shows the exact reason why people tend to make fun of New Jersey. But yeah, either way, yeah, few things you want to consider on this. First and foremost, one, this girl has been a perpetual liar. She wound up Snapchatting a thing about having a fake pregnancy, you know, so take what she says to a grain of salt, or in this case, I'm pretty sure I'd believe Dave Meltzer before her. And also, let's just say for the sake of argument, you know, the girl is lying, yes. Until the investigation shows it, they really do have to put Enzo in a suspended state. They have to suspend Enzo on this, because if they don't, then anyone can make the argument of, well, you didn't suspend Enzo for that. Rewind the clock a few years ago. Chris Jericho wound up getting suspended because he kicked a flag in Brazil. When, you know, and the exact argument was, well, I have to. If I don't do this, then everyone's just going to go and say, well, you didn't do it for him. So, yeah. Whether it's true or not, I'm not sure. I'm not here to say yay or nay on that. I'm not saying that part. I'm saying, though, take the story as it is, a story. Don't go trying to dig facts up yourself. Don't go trying to report it. Just let the police do their own thing. Anyways, that being said, let's get into the show. Monday Night Raw was in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, as well as the Manhattan Center in Manhattan, also known as the Hammerstein Ballroom. And if you grew up with ECW, much like I did, you know the significance of Hammerstein. Also, yeah, Raw did emanate from the Manhattan Center for the better part of, like, I think for the first couple years. First, like, 3 years or so before they started actually moving around. But anyways, you know, they had a nice little video package at first. They showed King, Jerry Lawler, and JR, Jim Ross, at the Manhattan Center, and then, you know, and then they wound up going to Brooklyn, and it showed Shane Witt, the MILF in charge, Stephanie McMahon. They're hyping up on how it's been 25 years, you know, with this show, and, you know, thank you for everyone who's been here, supported us, anyone who's ever seen or who's ever come here for the show, this, that, and the other. And then they introduced the man himself who deserves the credit for it, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Vince McMahon came out, you know, that normal Vince McMahon swagger, and Shane and Steph said, you know, Pops, we got you something. It's a little something for you. We started up a GoFundMe for it. For 25 years of Monday Night Raw, a commemorative plaque. And Vince, very much so being Vince, absolutely loved it. A plaque. A plaque? That's what you got. Damn, pal. That looks cheap. Plaque. Plaque is the stuff that these people here in Brooklyn have in their teeth. Plaque is the stuff that these people in Brooklyn here have in their arteries because they eat all them hot dogs. There's only one man who deserves credit for making this show what it is. One man who deserves all of the glory, and that is me. Nobody else deserves it. And then, boom, cue the glass breaks. Out comes Steve Austin. Oh, hell yeah. He comes out, flips a couple birds, just looks over, stares a hole right through Vince. Whoa, 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 whoa. God damn, pal. Things ain't the same like they used to be. I'm older now. I'm brittle. I have arthritis in my bones. I have aches. I'm a member of AARP now. I'm in a retirement community. If you think for 1 minute Vince McMahon is going to be willing enough to want to go into a retirement community, I mean, come on, for crying out loud, I'm pretty sure Vince McMahon is going to wind up doing like Futurama, is going to wind up being around like in Futurama in like the year 3000 and just be a head in a fish jar, you know? I can just picture it now. In the year like 3042, Vince McMahon's head in a fish jar, just still. Welcome everyone to Monday Night Raw live from Planet Zbort, you know, or something like that. But yeah, so, now Shane on the other hand here, Shane, he's in his prime. You've seen him. He flies across the ring like that, and that he just threw Shane right in front of him. But Steve just boom gave him a stunner. After that, went over to the corner, did his normal thing. Hey, come on. Threw in a couple beers. Steve cracked them open, handed it to Vince. Boom. Did it, you know, cracked it open, a couple Steve Weisers, had that, and then next thing you know, boom, gave him a stunner. And then when Shane got up, boom, gave Shane another stunner. And then after that, he walked off. Now, that being said, now we get to the first match of the night. 8-women tag match, Nia Jax, Alicia Fox, Sonya Deville, and Mandy Rose going against Sasha Banks, Bayley, Mickie James, and Asuka. Now, right at the very start of this match, there was like chaos. Like, they all started to just go and brawl before the bell even rang, which, you know, I'm all for that if you can make that play out right. You know, I mean, it was different, but it didn't feel like it played out right. It was a good kind of different, but it didn't play out right, if that makes sense. It was a good kind of different because, okay, it wasn't something to expect, but it didn't play out because, you know, the brawl was short-lived and the ref was like, hey, and backed it all up real quick. Like, huh? Really? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But anyways, Asuka, she wound up starting out with Sonya Deville. That was nice and good. But right after that, Sasha got tagged in, and then boom, once that happened, she was the team punching bag for the match. And it was just like that for the entire match. Next thing you know, match came to an end when just Alicia Fox was in there working on Sasha. And next thing you know, right out of nowhere, all the 3 girls for all the other on the outside on the apron all started brawling outside, and just as Alicia went to go and do a running boot, missed. Next thing you know, Sasha, boom, hit a backstabber, locked in bank statement. Foxy tapped. After that, everyone was like, yay, we won, we won. Next thing you know, Asuka, boom, tossed out Bayley, kicked Mickie, threw her out, and then tossed Sasha out also. Interesting thing to note here, I was watching this with my son was watching this with me. First thing he thought was, is Asuka being a bad guy now? Which, okay, if Asuka did do a turn, yeah, I'd be okay with it. And I'm not talking like, you know, more so just because you could play it like, dude, she knows she's bad. She knows she's badass and nobody can frickin' touch her in that kind of a way. But, you know, very much so in the same way like Samoa Joe. But it's like, nah, she's just sending a message telling the other girls that she's going to win the Women's Rumble. Which, Asuka, yeah, my pick to win. Now, do want to note on here, they only had like 4 or 5 matches on the show. Because honestly, with this being the 25th anniversary episode, this was more of a anniversary show. Like, you know, celebrating, hey, we did it this long, you know. Saw some flashbacks, saw people from the past. You know, a lot of good nostalgia feel from this, you know. Got to see Brooklyn Brawler, Teddy Long, Brother Love, you know. Which, you know, Brother Love, frickin' Boogeyman, Eric Bischoff. Trying to think, some of the other ones. Saw Jericho. It was actually funny. Jericho wound up doing a segment with Elias. It was, Elias was walking, he saw Jericho, and was like, you know, see you. And Jericho did his own little ditty of a song about Elias, and it's like, you just made the list! Put him on the list and put his scarves on the list. Probably the best part of that was Jericho did all that while still rocking his own Alpha Club shirt. So yeah, when you can have a deal with New Japan and still get to be on WWE TV and rock your own pro wrestling t-shirt that can get sold at Hot Topic also, yeah, you're pretty much a made man in the business. There's no other way around that. Now, they did also show like a little congratulatory thing with some of the women. They showed some of the women from the yesteryear, you know, that were on there. Trying to think. Some of the other segments. They had one with the APA in the back. I'll get to that one because that eventually leads to a match. I'll get to that. But anyways, next matchup right now. Miz versus Roman for Roman's Intercontinental title. And now, before this happened, they showed they had some of the previous general managers of yesteryear come on out. William Regal, trying to think, some of the other ones. Eric Bischoff. Fuck, I can't remember. Ed, you got the cue card that shows who? No? God damn it! What the hell is Ollie paying you guys for? I don't get these. I don't get this, seriously. You know, you can't get good help anymore. Anyways, and then they brought out Daniel Bryan just to get that also nostalgia pop and the big Daniel Bryan pop. And then just as Daniel Bryan came out came Miz, and them two had an epic stare down. And yeah, everyone, you know, my Twitter was flooding with like, oh my god, I really hope Miz and Daniel Bryan have a match at WrestleMania, this, that, and yeah. Honestly, I can care less. I really don't think Daniel Bryan should come back because, you know, we'll just say, right, you know, we'll say, if all the doctors outside of WWE say, yeah, he's medically cleared, he can, you know, but you're just like, no. Because think about this for a minute. The day after he announced his retirement on Raw, he did a press tour going to like ABC, Good Morning America, ESPN, all these different sports and news shows talking about how he's been concussed multiple times, how he hid concussion seizures that he had and all. And, you know, honestly, I'm more so worried Daniel Bryan will come back and wind up being like one concussion away from pulling a Chris Benoit. That's my big worry. So, no, I don't think he should come back. I don't think Bryan should come back at all, period. That being said, though, now that we're done talking about the hypotheticals, let's get back into the reality. Miz versus Roman. This had a nice feeling out to start with. You know, Roman playing the power game, Miz trying to work around it, but Roman getting them in the Miztourage, just like, oh, hey, you know, kind of running interference, but not actually like decking them or nothing. Just like, oh, wait, can't pass. Shit like that, you know. Now, they went to break, obviously, after the feeling out. When they came back, Roman, he was in control for the break. He was in control. He was actually in control for a majority of the match, and I kind of give Roman this because, you know, as much as I have shit on him, you know, I even said the night after that Extreme Rules match with the Shield and Evolution, Roman taking all those shots at the Singapore Cane, and then the night after getting cracked so many times with the chair and all. Honestly, that kind of felt like a mafia ceremony, like saying, yeah, you're made now. And I tip my hat to him saying that he is made. You know, I see him being a top guy. You know, he carries himself in that way, and that's a good thing. Very much so in the same way Miz carries himself as a top guy. You know, these are two top guys putting on a top guy match. This was probably the match of the night, I would say. You know, so yeah, very much so liked it. You know, at one point when Roman was looking to go inside, damn it, gotta start talking before thinking. Gotta stop talking before thinking. See, I'm doing it again. Ugh. Anyways, just as Roman was sizing Miz up for a spear, Dallas and Axel, they were holding on to Roman's boots so that way he couldn't run. Next thing you know, Roman started yelling at them. Ref threw the Miztourage out, and then after that, Roman kept going at Miz. Or actually, right after he did that, Miz hit Skull Crushing Finale, got a kick out after that. It's like, Jesus Christ, what is it going to take to finish him? And then, you know, after a little bit more of a tassel, next thing you know, Miz threw Roman into an unexposed turnbuckle, because at one point during the match when Roman was outside chasing around the Miztourage, Miz undid the turnbuckle on the middle rope on the one corner. Nobody noticed, and you know, and I mean literally nobody noticed. And he threw Roman into that, and then boom, hit him with the Skull Crushing Finale. Got 1, 2, 3. So now Miz is an 8-time Intercontinental Champion, the second most amount of title reigns for the Intercontinental title, just short from Chris Jericho. So, golf clap, golf clap. There we go. Next matchup, it was Bray Wyatt versus Matt Hardy, and this one was actually in the Manhattan Center. And I gotta tell you, I kind of popped for this because, you know, I remember being a kid watching Monday Night Raw and seeing the episodes from Manhattan Center and just remembering that very hard, dry thud that the ring made then compared to the thud that the ring makes now. And it made the very same sound there. So I was like, okay, yeah, that's kind of cool. That's cool that they got the ring to give that same kind of sound, you know, on it. That, and also, not gonna lie, I also popped and I gave an NWA Road Warriors pop for the fact that they had the ICO Pro sign up at the Manhattan Center. Now, back to the match. As far as the match goes, Matt, he was in control at first, but you know, he was actually in control for a good bit. Bray, he started to get some comeback shots here and there, but, you know, it wasn't really much. But after that, you know, right out of nowhere, Bray, boom, hit Sister Abigail, got the 1, 2, 3. That was it. So, yeah, that's that. Now, at one point, now, do want to also note that a lot of people were shitting on the fact that Manhattan Center felt like, you know, a lot of people were shitting on it, like, oh man, Manhattan Center got screwed out. They're not really getting the big matches. Dude, what did you expect? The last time WWE tried something like this, it was WrestleMania 2, and nobody talks about WrestleMania 2. Just, seriously. Fucking people. I mean, they had some cruiserweight matches going on down there, you know, but a lot of people were like yelling, this is bullshit, we want wrestling, things like that. The Miz wound up going all the way from Barclay to Manhattan to get there to help ease the crowd. And Jeff Hardy at one point wound up getting there. He wasn't in Brother Nero gear, but after the match, though, Jeff was there and he started singing along. Him and Matt started singing, Bray will fade away and classify himself as... They started doing the obsolete song, you know. But, you know, honestly, if you got tickets to be at the Manhattan Center and you knew that the show was also going to be at Brooklyn, what did you expect? Anyways, next matchup, it was a tag match. Apollo Crews and Titus O'Neil going against Heath, Slater, and Rhyno. Now, the story behind this match was the APA had their office set up in the back again, and they were playing poker with Slater and Rhyno, and a couple of the legends came around, you know, $1 Million Man, MVP, you know, Jeff Hardy was there at one point, you know, the class, you know, people were there, and Slater was just like losing hand after hand after hand until eventually he won, and then, you know, they wound up calling out like, dude, you've been stuffing the deck. You've been playing the deck. No, you're cheating. And just as it looked like they were about to fight in the back, the next thing you know, Farouk of all people, Ron Simmons, hey, this is poker. This is a gentleman's game. We don't fight over this. Really? Because I've seen people fight over poker games all the time growing up. For crying out loud, I saw my dad break a dude's nose once over a poker game. But yeah, said, you got issues, go settle it out in the ring. They did that. So that's what led to this match. This was honestly the piss break of the night. This was the piss break of the night. The ref threw it out because both teams were in there and the ref couldn't get control. Next thing you know, the Dudleys came out and they threw Slater to them. And when I say they, I mean Titus, Apollo, and Rhyno. So, yeah. He got thrown to them and he got read his rights and hit with a 3D. So, yeah. After that, it was... Now, the main event match of the night was the Revival going against Gallows and Anderson. Now, on how this came to be, it was at the Manhattan Center. DX came out. They did their, you know, hyping up the crowd, talking about on how for 25, you know, X amount of years ago, DX made a statement by coming out on TV, you know, telling people to suck it, you know, driving a tank into WCW, you know, all this, that, and the other shit. And then they said, we did not come alone. And then Shawn and Tripp pointed to the back, and then they brought out, and then out came Road Dogg and Billy Gunn. And then they pointed to the back again, then Road Dogg and Billy pointed to the back, and out came X-Pac. And Pac wound up... X-Pac got the 1, 2, 3 chance, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And honest to God, If you don't understand the significance of the 1, 2, 3 chants, brush up on your wrestling history. But either way, just after he was there and he, you know, pretty sure I'm guessing he felt a little humbled about that. About the 1, 2, 3 chants. Then he introduced the bad guy, Scott Hall. Scott Hall came out, hyped up, saying, you know, if you're going to have a party, you got to have the bad guy. And 25 years, Raw, it's just too sweet. Excuse me. And then out came the Balor Club. Or as they say, the Balor Club, you know. Then out came Balor, Gallows, and Anderson. They came out. And everyone's just like, oh man, this is going to be the epic stare down. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. They all just stared at each other for a minute and then they all just threw him up. They all just threw him up and two-sweeted. After that, next thing you know, the Revival came out, started shoving Gallows and Anderson, which then led to the inevitable match. Now, it was a good short match, but, you know, very much so, again, nostalgia feel, because, you know, watching it, it really did feel like it was watching Monday Night Raw, because, like the old classic Raw, because it was a short match, and, okay, yeah, it was a match. Whereas nowadays, it's like, no, you wouldn't be able to really get away doing that. But, you know, it was a short little match, but it did tell a story, you know, the Revival with the whole, we're pro wrestlers, not sports entertainers, making that argument. But Gallows and Anderson, they got the win. They hit the Magic Killer on Dash Wilder. And then Scott Dawson went to go pick a fight with Scott Hall. He got decked by Scott and then proceeded to get beat up by everyone else. And then the end came when, after DX got done beating him up, they all laid him out so that way Finn could then hit him with the coup de grace. Now the closing segment of the night was Kurt Angle bringing everyone from the locker room, every able-bodied person, and by able-bodied I mean somebody that's able to take a bump if needed. Come out ringside so that way Braun Strowman, Kane, and Brock Lesnar could all address each other before their match this coming Sunday at the Royal Rumble. Which case, Braun destroyed Kane and put Brock through the announce table. That was it. That was pretty much it, really. Yeah. So yeah, that was it. Again, not saying it, if you looked at it as if you're going to critique this Raw episode of Raw based on how Raw has been for like the past year, you could say it sucked. But if you look at it from the perspective of, this is an anniversary show, it was meant to highlight that it's been around for X amount of years, then I would say it was a fairly decent anniversary show. Not one of the best, but it was decent. But yeah. So yeah, that is it for this week's show, folks. So do not forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back, watch some of the other episodes. Make sure y'all look for me on my Twitter at TimVicious. Also do have another account, Tim_Vicious. And I'm also on that Facebook gimmick, Tim Ash. And make sure you check out the info down below for the Dad Show, Lifestyle Podcast, Storytelling Podcast, whatever kind of podcast you want to make it as. That's what it is. New episodes are coming out soon. It's a matter of when, not if. Also, make sure you follow all of these cool-ass cats right here on the Twitter. Axel Mulligan, make sure you check out Axel's newest project, Wrestling Review, where they talk about British and European wrestling. Kenny Killer, my two co-hosts for the Dad Show. My good brother, I am Danny Sunday. I'm the executive producer for this show. Oliver Ben, who did provide the music for this week's show. Make sure you check out his music. It's on iTunes, Spotify, and such. Details are down below. Also hit Ali up for one of these Ali Rewind shirts. Show the man some love and support. Cranky asshole Aaron _DeBar and Daddy MWP. And folks, like I always tell y'all, you love me great, you hate me. Fuck this.